So, hello, you're welcome to today's World Cup Diary. It's my weekly catch up with our man on the road, our coffee drinker, our Scotland fan interviewer, baseball enthusiast. I don't know what to call you now, Sean, to be honest. But you're in Miami, you're ahead of Scotland, Brazil. I'm in Houston. I've been at Portugal and Uzbekistan earlier today in terms of my current time zone where I'm at the moment. Yeah, it's a quite pleasant place, Houston. Maybe a little bit of background noise here, some vehicles going past. I didn't realise it was the fourth largest city in United States, and it is pretty warm. I'm a little bit in shade here at the moment, whereas people can see in Miami, you're young, you're full of energy, you're out in the heat, and you're sweating really badly. So how are you getting on?
I can't hack it, Dan. I can't hack this heat. I don't know how people, and the Mozzies as well, I'm beating me even alive here. But yeah, Miami's pretty cool. So far, so good. Got in here ahead of Pico Lopez's game with Cape Verde. That was an incredible event in itself. And right after that, it was time for Scotland to take over. They took over Boston last week, and now it's Miami's turn. I don't know if you can hear the noise behind me. They're having an absolute ball over there. It seems like absolutely incredible crack, but it's a funny blend of cultures here. I'm a bit outside the city, a bit outside downtown. This is South Beach, Miami Beach, which I think people will be very familiar with. Lots of very big looking fellas with six packs and guns bigger than mine working out. And then across the street you have a lot of sweating Scotland fans in very heavy kilts, possibly regretting the kilts in the 35-degree heat. But yeah, it's a great buzz here. They're enjoying themselves. Of course, they need a big result against Brazil on Wednesday. But you'd almost think that the result is kind of secondary. It's being here. It's having the crack. Their first World Cup in almost 30 years. And yeah, the news coming out of Boston, drink the place dry. It's the same here. It means everything to them. They're having an absolute ball.
Yeah, I did see a lot of Scots with six packs in Boston, but they were just taking them out of supermarkets or off licenses or whatever. But yeah, it is. I mean, we are sort of at that stage of the tournament now where teams are at the stage of going to start getting knocked out over the next couple of days. We've had England today, who obviously struggled a little bit against Ghana. Maybe no harm to tempering some of the expectations. Ghana definitely going through now. Joey Anang and Pats will be getting their extra money, or they won't be having their keeper for a while. But yeah, I was in Portugal. I was at the Portugal game. It's a strange one. I don't know, have you experienced this? Like, really, like, it is the tournament of superstars, and everywhere I saw it today, there was Ronaldo fans, but they weren't Portugal fans. Like in the stadium, like, whereas I've had a lucky week. Messi and Ronaldo in 24 hours. The Messi Stadium was Argentina fans, and there's very much an Argentine experience. Just the songs they were singing, the vibe, you could feel that percentage of fans was more so Argentine, and maybe people living in the States. Portugal was different. Even watching the England game there in a local place, Portugal's Ronaldo 7 shirts everywhere, but all sorts of different nationalities and shapes and sizes and characters. And it is that sort of celebrity vibe that sort of, and you do see that at some of the games, like it's football tourism, where I think the Scots, what you're experiencing is something a little bit more fervent. Like it's a little bit more patriotic and built around one team and one event. Probably more like the typical Irish experience at a tournament. Whereas here, almost today, was borderline just a better version of Qatar in terms of like the crowd just being obsessed with one person.
Yeah, I think I haven't really had that in my game so far. Like the Mexico opener, a lot like the Scots, just everyone behind the one team. The US's opening game, there was a lot of Pulisic stuff, but obviously he's not on the level of Messi and Ronaldo, stating the obvious. And obviously he was injured for their second game, so that kind of euphoria around him has tailed off a little bit. From there is obviously Cape Verde as well, very much one team, one focus, and then Scotland as well, of course, there's the McTominay chance, the John McGinn chance. But as you said, they're really like the Irish. There's no kind of one superstar. Although you had Troy Parrott's exploits late last year, I haven't really had that kind of one superstar out of the whole team yet. But I don't know for you, Dan, the last few days, like seeing Messi one night and Ronaldo the next. Like I think I've worked at the game Ronaldo. I've yet to see Messi in the flesh. That must have been such a thrill for you, just those two games, those two superstars, and Messi getting those 2 goals and Ronaldo eventually getting off the mark.
Yeah, it's strange. So you say night, and I get it because I think everyone's time difference is thrown here. No one knows that is again a train going past me there. But like the games are actually about at 12 o'clock in the day. Like they're about at noon kickoffs. So it is a slightly surreal thing where you have this breakfast event. You know, you go into a stadium, particularly the Dallas one, which was sort of very much air conditioned and indoors, and then you come out afterwards to like it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like you know it's still bright, it's still 30 degrees, and this has happened, and this is something that's going to happen later in the competition, and it's something that's going to be good for people at home who are going to watch games at a more familiar time. But it is sort of disconcerting then when you're here that there are going to be some really early kickoffs. And I think what like I will say about Dallas, like it was actually a great venue, a great city, great stadium. Would have been perfect for the final. All the reports about New York in terms of the access, the quality of the pitch and stuff, that's something that's maybe not going to be great later on. It's going to be at 3 o'clock afternoon, but that's a long way down the road. But what's been the best part of the last week for you, aside from trying to survive Mosquitos trying to attack you there on a regular basis, and being called Harry Potter by some lad who abused you as well, which seems very harsh to me, Sean. But what's been your high points of the last week?
I think football-wise was Pico Lopez. Like it was impossible not to be taken aback by the significance of that moment. Like after the thrill of Spain, you know, they had their big moment, but they really shown that they weren't just here to make up the numbers. They were excellent. Had to take their medicine for periods against Uruguay, but like Pico was exceptional, as were a lot of his teammates. So you know the significance of that, and obviously if results work out in a scenario that's possible, they could be meeting. You could have Pico, Mark, and Messi in the last 32, which would be an absolutely like incredible scenario coming into this World Cup to think about. But kind of, I suppose, off the pitch was I was at the baseball with the Scots there on Monday night our time, and like it was an absolutely like it was gas crack. They marched 8,000 of them. We marched from Little Havana, the Cuban district, and sorry if you can hear me, the PA system is having great crack here behind me. He's
keep going.
No Scotland, no party seems to be the team tune here. But yeah, I was at the baseball with the Scots, 8,000 of them, going up to the Miami Marlins game. Like the Boston baseball last week, they kind of took it over and non-stop singing the whole game, like Rose of Scotland, No Scotland, No Party, John McGinn. It was a lot of the local baseball fans were taken aback. They'd never seen anything like it. It was kind of the baseball seems like a kind of laid back atmosphere, and they were kind of looking around saying like why are these lads singing from start to finish? Bagpipes around the stand, concert outside, and they were having a great time. So that was a real thrill. I wasn't sure if I understood a whole lot of baseball. I'm not sure if the Scotland fans did either, but it was good crack, and it was a nice moment for them just before they take on Brazil.
Yeah, Scots just need to find some nuns on a train now or something, and they'll have totally taken the Irish. I have to say, I mean, we don't normally the England fans come into Boston, did have quite a good song about Scotland fans having their party and going home, which I did actually appreciate, to be fair. Even though I think most of us might be rooting for Scotland to be England in that scenario, and I can't speak for everyone. But listen, what's next for you then? Where are you headed next on your travels?
Yeah, so after Scotland-Brazil, it's off to New York on Thursday for England's final group game against Panama, which obviously has a bit more interest in it, given their draw against Ghana earlier on. So they'll want to get the job done in that and sign off the group with a win there. A little bit of pressure on them just after the stalemate, just to finish the group on a high. And then after that, it's the last 32 game a few days later. And depending on the Norway taking on France in the final group game. The winner of that tops the group, and then whoever wins that, I'll see in New York in their last 32 game. So I'll either see Mbappe at a game or Haaland. Both of them, I think, joint top of the goal scoring charts at the moment behind Messi. So a couple of nights in New York next for me, and then it's on to Kansas from there. So Dan, I know you're in Texas at the moment, and there's a decision to be made about Pico's possible last 32 game.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we won't go to picture till after Friday, but we can say with certainty the Irish Independent will be following Pico all the way in this competition. We just don't know where he's going to be. They still have to get past the Saudis, but we will be there. But look, I think next for you is got to get some Mosquitos spray, Sean. I think that's probably the most important thing. And you're struggling there, but look, it's good to catch up with you. That is signing off in the diary. I'm in Texas. You're bound for New York. The World Cup continues with the Irish Independent. Yeah, you can go to the website or follow us on our socials, and keep up all the way as we're sort of getting closer to the halfway point now.